Hello, hello, hello. Breaking news. We're doing a special episode right now. We're never on at this time, but we're on at this time for breaking news. Coming out of Alberta, we have some information from Eva Chippewick and Carrie Sakamoto. I believe I'm saying that right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them both on. We're just going to get right to it. No wasting any time. Hello, ladies. How are you doing today?
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for passing this information on, Eva. And the floor is yours. Let's go ahead and tell people what's going on.
Well, maybe I'll let Carrie just start with her story. This is about her, so go ahead,
Carrie, please go ahead.
So I guess my story and what this is all about is a vaccine injury. I have full Bloom's Bell's palsy from my vaccine, and I am 2 years in. It's quite a story. It started in April 21st of 2021, and my husband and I decided to go get our vaccine after watching everything unfold on TV and listening to on the radio. We were watching all the government officials tell us to go get our vaccine, that they had a vaccine and this was going to save lives, and that it was safe for everybody and to go get it as quickly as possible. So that's what I did. I went and my first dose was AstraZeneca, and I just had a mild... Sorry, I had no reaction. I had a sore arm, just like getting the flu shot. Mm-hmm. So then June rolls around and it's time to get our second vaccine. I, referring to myself and my husband. June 18th, we decided to go get Pfizer. AstraZeneca was pulled off the market out of Canada. So we were forced to make a decision between Moderna or Pfizer, and I chose Pfizer for myself. I got sick right away. I had flu-like symptoms, just like my husband, so I really didn't think much of it, just that I felt really crappy. But I had my mother, who was 75, living with us because of COVID and isolations. So I felt it was worth it. I also had kids in the house, so we were powering through just like everybody else. And day 7, 8 came around, and my husband got better and I got worse. And over the next couple days, my meningeal lining around my brain swelled and caused me to get very sick. The Bell's palsy set in, and I was admitted into the hospital. I was there for 17 days where I had to learn to chew my food and speak and swallow and walk, and I had to learn how to care for my eye that was now paralyzed and the vertigo that I constantly deal with. So here I sit 2 years in, and I'm still really sick, still dealing with all of these issues.
I'm so sorry, Carrie. Eva, you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, Carrie's talked about the impact she's had on it, and the claim has been filed and drafted in a way that what we're highlighting and want Canadians to really understand and appreciate is that Health Canada, in approving the COVID-19 vaccines, removed the requirement that the COVID-19 vaccines were safe or effective, like all other therapeutic drugs that are approved in Canada. They removed it because it was under the urgency, or I'm not sure exactly the reasons for it. And what they did is they put in a different test. The test they put in was that the benefit of the COVID-19 vaccine had to be greater than the risk. But what we're arguing is, how do you know that there's greater benefit than risk or harm when you don't know whether it's safe or effective and you're not measuring those things? So that's a huge part of it. And not only that, is that we heard these government officials, like Carrie was saying, on the radio, on the TV, just constantly telling Canadians it's safe and effective, while knowing that that wasn't even a criteria for approval. So that's where the lawsuit is a little bit different. It's not like a pure like malpractice claim or a negligence claim. It's this coordinated effort by government officials together with our public broadcaster that continued to put this message out to Canadians like Carrie, who received the message, accepted the message, and then followed through with their instructions, and as a result has been injured.
So, Carrie, you say you're following the media. You took those warnings seriously when they said your grandma, your older parents trust that we are doing this right. It's for their safety, and you followed that.
Yes. I had always had vaccines like the flu shot, and I had hoped that this would be similar to that, not thinking that I would have a reaction. It wasn't something that we were running to do, but we felt like we needed to do it quickly because they were rolling it out. And they were urging everyone to get it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I remember that time as well. They were having, times where they're saying bring the older people, then the next block. So you went for the protection of your family is one of the main reasons you did that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, after you got ill, were they helping you? Was there care for that? Are you on the vaccine injury website?
So my injury was reported to Ottawa before I left hospital, because in hospital is where I was told it was the vaccine that was doing this to my body, because I didn't understand what was happening to me. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No problem. So after they said vaccine injured you, did they give you any therapy? Were they helping you with the
Yes. So then we were urged to apply to the vaccine injury program that we had heard about. And so I applied as quickly as possible within a month or two. And I did receive recognition through the vaccine injury program that this was a vaccine or is a vaccine injury. And I was given a payout.
Okay. Well, that's good news. So there's a small number of people that actually got that payout. So Eva, do you want to talk a bit about that and what?
Well, I just wanted to comment in that, like you could see a little bit Carrie struggling, and I maybe I'll just speak for you here, Carrie, and if I say something wrong, please correct me. But Carrie experiences better days and worse days, especially with memory and fogginess, because she's on so much medication, and of course this has affected her brain. So it causes a lot of psychological and mental impacts as well. And with the vaccine injury support program, it only recognized a certain very small amount of physical damage. It actually didn't recognize a lot of the other impacts that Carrie is still experiencing. So that's another reason that, yes, while there was some support and relief from the federal government, it was very small compared to the extensive damages and harm that's occurred to Carrie.
Well, I think it says a lot that she was approved on that. So there must be lots of evidence that was provided as part of that application from your doctors and other people to support that application.
I was very fortunate that I had doctors supporting me from the beginning. A lot of people in my position don't have that, I guess, luxury. I was able to have all the scans and things I needed quickly while I was in hospital, and had a team of doctors that are still caring for me now.
And you're in Lethbridge, Alberta, or around Lethbridge?
Yes.
Okay, so you're dealing with Alberta Health Services. How's that been going since the diagnosis?
They've been awful. I received 2 phone calls from Alberta Health Services telling me it was safe to get a booster.
Wow.
I don't know anyone who's received a call saying to get a booster. So why I was chosen after they knew I had a vaccine injury makes me feel like I'm an experiment.
Yeah, so you didn't do that?
No, no, I
Okay.
was advised by all of my doctors not to have any type of vaccine now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good advice. Now, are you doing any therapy? Are you doing anything to combat this? Do you have some sort of protocol to assist you?
So I am seeing a physiotherapist for my balance and the vision and hearing issues that I have.
Yeah,
But
no.
it's short term, so I'm not sure what happens next.
Okay, well, keep us up to date on that one. So, Eva, I looked over the claim quickly. It's been a very busy afternoon getting the show ready. So, please excuse me if I don't have all the details. But I do see that the Government of Canada, not Health Canada, but you have Attorney General of Canada. I'll bring it up on the screen here. Attorney General of Canada, Minister of Health, Chief Public Health Officer of Canada, Health Canada, okay, so they are there, Public Health Agency of Canada, Dr. Celia Lorenzo, Alberta Health Services, Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, and the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. So as you mentioned, this isn't a malpractice suit. This is a misinformation and neglect lawsuit. This is why you have the CBC there. And I believe Jane 1 and Jane Doe 2 are nurses. Can you explain to us why these people were picked as defendants and what the reason for them being a party of this is?
Yeah. So, in a lawsuit, and over the last 3 years, there's been lots of make-believe lawyers out there giving legal advice on the internet. But what you need to establish is a relationship. So, with AHS, the nurses that injected Carrie, they work through AHS, so that's kind of the direct link. And one other thing I did want to talk about too that's very important is Carrie, after having this injury and was advised by her doctors that it was because of the vaccine. Because what Carrie didn't have a chance to mention is she was at the hospital, presented with like early symptoms, but the doctors just didn't know what to do, and they gave her some drugs and they sent her home, and she had to come back to the hospital the next day, and everything just got so much worse. So Carrie, after coming back from the hospital and knowing it was an injury from the vaccine, she went and she contacted all the mainstream media in Canada and even in the United States, I believe, and none of them responded to her. And the ones that did said that we can't talk to you, we can't say anything negative about the vaccine or injuries to because of the vaccine. So that's another big component of the lawsuit, is that it's not just that there was already a misinformation campaign with saying it's safe and effective. But then once there were adverse impacts being shown and recognized, and people were being alerted to that, even by Carrie herself, they didn't report on it. They didn't take the steps that they are required to take. And so that's the reason that the CBC is included, because they were alerted. They were told that there's negative impacts and they didn't address it. They're a public broadcaster. And the health minister specifically has an obligation to recall a therapeutic that is causing harm. And he didn't do that. And knowingly continued to get that message out that it's safe and effective, and encouraging and enticing and coercing Canadians to continue to get the COVID vaccine shots.
Okay. And now what's your legal barrier to cross? What level of proof do you have to give in order to show that there was neglect and misinformation? Because I don't know of many case law around misinformation. So maybe you can let us know about how the tests or the hurdles you're going to have around that.
Right. So we anticipate quite a bit of hurdles, and it's going to be more is the relationship, is what I was saying earlier, because somebody like the CBC, their first argument is going to be, we had nothing to do with Carrie. We didn't inject Carrie with the COVID vaccine. We were just providing information. I don't know if Carrie heard anything, the CBC said. So that's going to be the first big hurdle in this lawsuit. And we anticipate that many of the defendants will make the same kind of arguments. And yes, like you said, this is not something we've ever seen before. We've never seen our government officials constantly in our ear telling us that we must do this. We have to do this to protect everyone, to protect ourselves. But like Carrie said, in the video she had provided for the lawsuit, was that I listened and I did it, and it didn't go right for me. So now what? And it's the now what that we have to figure out. I did the right thing, and now what? That's where we're at.
Now, in addition to the relief for the 10.5 million, what other reliefs are you looking for? Are you trying to get the government to do things right next time, provide proper information, provide consent, full consent? Informed consent, sorry, that's what I was looking for, informed consent.
There are certain things we're asking the government to do and be more responsible and have more accountability with the CBC as well. And I'm really glad you brought up the $10.5 million today, because I think that's something we really want to talk to Canadians about as well, is that a lot of the money, especially at the beginning, is going to actually go for treatment and medical assistance for Carrie that she's just not receiving right now. For example, a psychologist. Like, Carrie's been through so much in the last 2-3 years, and maybe Carrie, you could just speak a little bit about what's gone on with your family since the vaccine and the injury. She's a mother of 3, and this is a lot to deal with. The lawsuit is a lot to deal with, and we want to be able to help provide her with those medical expenses, because that's just not there for her. Like I said, it's a very small, specific amount that the federal government has approved her for with the vaccine injury program, but there's so much more there. There's so much more treatment and help that Carrie ought to have.
That's shocking to hear that the system that hurt her doesn't have a way to help her as well ongoing. We have a public system. So I guess what they're saying is there's additional services that you'd have to pay for yourself to get rehab and additional things that you need.
I'd imagine. I'm just not finding a lot of help, because my doctor is working very hard for me, but this is something new, and it's shown a lot of different things that we've had to figure out medically, just things he hasn't seen before. So I don't know. There are a couple of doctors at a hospital in the US that specialize in facial reanimation surgery. I haven't found anyone in my area of Canada that does this surgery. So, but even to know if I can have the surgery, I would have to fly down there and be evaluated.
Now, Bell's palsy is a degenerative disease. It will continue to get worse over time, correct?
It can. Some people can have long-term Bell's palsy.
Okay.
Yeah, some people can have it reoccurring throughout their lives. These are all things I had no idea of. But because, again, this is something new, and when I say new, it's caused by the vaccine. So they haven't seen any long-term effects. I am the long-term effect.
Right.
So they're just waiting to see what happens with me, I guess.
Now, Eva, what you mentioned at the beginning is they said that the benefits will outweigh the cons or the problems, but you can't tell that at the beginning until problems start to happen. So over time, as the problems start to outweigh the benefits, is that going to change that entire assumption on their part? And is that going to help you guys with this claim going forward to challenge that particular portion of it?
Well, if they ever do start providing the accurate information, and that's where we just don't know what the information is, what they're making these assessments on. And I think that's in the claim, is that this has turned into a subjective test, not an objective test, because we don't have the data. We don't have the information. And so much about especially vaccine injuries is being suppressed and censored. So maybe we're way past that. We know from history, other vaccines were disbanded and other therapeutic drugs were recalled early with 50 or so side effects and adverse impacts. And in this case, it's just not happening. Everything with this COVID vaccine and COVID pandemic has just been so different than what we normally experience. And that's why this lawsuit is different. Carrie's saying her injuries are different. So another thing is we're hearing Canadians say, oh, like, we'll see, lawsuits haven't gone anywhere. But this is not a typical lawsuit. This is not a typical case. Everything about this is so different. And we hope not only that courts will start to listen, but Canadians will start to understand what's going on and what transpired over the last 3 years.
Thank you for doing that work. Now, the one question I get a lot of since this broke is there's no pharmaceutical company on here. Is there a reason why you're not targeting Pfizer?
Yeah. Just think about suing Pfizer. Like, it's over. This is already overwhelming for Carrie. I'm assuming for me, it's overwhelming. We're suing the Canadian government. We're suing the AHS. We're suing the CBC. We already have so much up against us. And then throw in a $1 billion company like Pfizer, who's going to litigate this until the next year. We also, I think, all know that the government of Canada signed waivers of liability. It wasn't Pfizer that pleaded with Canadians to take the COVID vaccine. It was our government officials, the CBC, our health experts that were pleading, begging, enticing Canadians to take the COVID vaccine. And again, that's the reason that this lawsuit is drafted the way it is. And one thing I don't know if we mentioned is Carrie wasn't required to get the vaccine for work or anything like that. She did it because she heard the government and the CBC and AHS telling her, you need to do this to protect your health and your safety, and she did it.
Yeah, many Canadians did that. Now, is there a chance, I don't know if we have the opportunity to do a class action on this, but could this be a mass tort, or is there a possibility to add more plaintiffs to this?
So class actions are incredibly complicated in Canada. And what you need when you do a class action is to have similar damages. That way the judge can deal with a class. That's what a class means. Yep. So a class of people that had the same damage as Carrie. And then you could have another class of people that would have a different damage. But that's incredibly difficult to figure out and maneuver. And I applaud any lawyer and plaintiffs that are going to do it. But we chose not to do that in this case. Carrie's story is, like she said, they've never seen anything like this. This is very serious. The reason she took it is, again, like I said, because of the government. If people took it for their work, that's a whole different ball game. And a class action really complicates things. Mm-hmm. So that might happen. And again, too, this could set a precedent for other people to move forward. What we do want to see is we want to see the government held to account. We want to see the CBC held to account. You can't just say things to Canadians and then throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, we made a mistake, and they're not even going to say we made a mistake. You can't just do that. And so we want to see some accountability here. And with that, hopefully that helps Canadians in the future as well.
And now I noticed that you went to the King's Court, King's Bench of Alberta. Any reason why you didn't go federal court?
Yes, I've been to federal court. And some of our lawsuits were in federal court. One thing that is interesting to note for Canadians is that in order to be a federal court judge, you have to be within 50 kilometers of Ottawa as a resident.
Oh, interesting.
So there are courts, federal courts in Calgary per se, but they fly into Calgary. So, I've done a lot of work in Ottawa, and I've done some work against the government in the last couple of years here. And Ottawa, and I've said this many times, is a bubble. It's not reality, and I feel that wasn't the venue we chose to go forward with. Carrie lives in Alberta. I'm in Alberta. We brought the lawsuit in Lethbridge.
Okay. Now, if things aren't successful at the Lethbridge level, the provincial level, you still have other avenues for appeals and to take it up additional levels if you need to.
Yep. So you would then, this is the first level of court in Alberta. Then there's the Court of Appeal in Alberta. And then after that, it would be the Supreme Court of Canada. But once we start in provincially, you don't go into the federal jurisdiction.
Right. And what I like about this is this could be precedent. So hopefully you're successful on this. Now, do you have any other clients or any other people that come forward that are maybe waiting for their claim or something like that? Or are you just focused completely on Carrie?
Yeah, on Carrie right now, 100%. And I could let Carrie speak to this too, is like I said, the CBC and all the other media outlets wouldn't talk to Carrie or share her story. So what Carrie did is she made her own platform on TikTok, and she shared her story there. And then she could tell you the amount of people that have reached out to her. So there are so many people, and maybe Carrie, you could give us some words about that.
Yes, I actually had a friend reach out to me and suggest that I make a TikTok account because I was having difficulty getting the word out there. I really wanted to meet other people like me to see if there was other people like me. What I found was there's a lot of people like me, not with what I have, but with injuries. So a friend, Candace, had recommended TikTok as a form of reaching all these people all at once. And so I created this account under Canadian Flowers. And I just wanted to document my story. And it was important to me. I wanted doctors to know that this was happening, that we were out here. I couldn't get the media to report on it, so I had to find a way to do it myself, and I did.
Great job, Carrie. Great job. I'm very impressed with that. And thank you for doing that, because we need to get the message out as much as we can. Now, going forward, have you spoken to Dr. Makis or any other doctors like Dr. Peter McCullough or anybody like that? I'll go with Carrie, and then maybe Abby, you can answer. Do I know those names?
I believe I've spoken to Dr. Makis. I would have to look. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, a lot of different doctors recently. So I would have to be reminded, but I want to say I have touched base.
Yeah, okay. And if you haven't, we can put you in contact with him. And Eva, if you want to talk to Dr. Peter McCullough or Dr. Makis, if that can help you any, just say so.
Thanks. And really, like I was saying, that's kind of going to be the next step, is really going to be starting to gather and provide Carrie with more medical assistance and therapy. So that's going to be part of the case. But so that's why we're raising funds too. And that's something that I did want to mention is
yes,
we're
please.
Working through Empowered Canadians, and the whole mission and goal of Empowered Canadians is to help bring the government to account and have citizen action behind it, as well as the Institute for Freedom and Justice, and they're a charitable organization that help with these kind of cases. So there's two organizations that are helping to fund this. And like I said, the big costs at the beginning are going to go directly to Carrie's treatment and help. So we're hoping to fundraise as much as possible on that front. And that's, so we'll be reaching out to many experts and doctors, certainly.
Okay. Certainly, we can pass some email addresses, and we'll put your donation stuff up all over our Twitter and stuff like that. Now, are you going to call for any lawyers to assist you? You're the primary for sure, but do you have a team coming around you? Or are you building up a team there?
Hoping to build up a team, same thing, like with the experts and the costs. I think once we get some people behind it, some money behind us, more people will come. I'm certainly doing this because I want to help Carrie. James Kitchen is also named on the lawsuit as co-counsel. So we have two, but it would be great to have a bigger team, 100%. This is a big case. We want to have a win here in Canada, and we want to show that this is not something the government just can get away with.
Thank you very much for doing that. Now, what's your biggest hurdle other than fundraising at this point? Is there something else that the community can assist with, like getting the message out or write to your MPs, or is there anything like that we can start doing?
Yeah, great question. Maybe that's something we could start thinking about. We just launched the lawsuit and wanted to get the word out, but I'm sure some things will come up. Spreading awareness will be great. At some point, we might need to be having discussions with how we can engage our politicians as well. So that would be a good idea in time, yes.
Yeah. The community was very supportive. They would like to do something. Now, what is the first court matter or date? Do you have any of that scheduled yet, or you just filed?
Yeah, filed and served. So nothing's been set yet. And that's one thing that happens with court cases is they just do not go very quickly. And that's another reason many people just don't get into the court system, because it's long and it is expensive. It's not like what you see on Law and Order. It's never, hardly ever like that. So we don't have any dates at all set, and I don't even know when to expect one at this point.
But the next step is for them to respond, so they have 20 days or they can get an extension. That would be the next step.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but they might try to get out of the lawsuit before.
Oh, really? So what mechanism do you think they can use to get rid of it?
Well, like I was saying, that the relationship isn't there, that there's no direct, for example, like, again, we anticipate that will happen with the CBC, maybe others as well. So we'll be prepared for whatever it is. So they'd make an application to the court to say that there's no reason that we should be in court about this case. And then we'll have to argue it. But yeah, we anticipate a few fiery legal battles, that I could say.
And you're ready for that, right?
For sure.
You weren't intimidated by the Prime Minister. You're not going to be intimidated by the Alberta courts.
No, this is too important. And we need some accountability.
We would like to see some of them.
Yeah, and having the public behind Carrie and this lawsuit, that's what we need, because I think that also helps inform courts, that helps inform politicians. If we get people behind this case and people to acknowledge and understand what it is we're trying to do, I think that helps.
Thank you very much for that. Now, Carrie, you're on TikTok, and now you're on YouTube and Rumble on this show. And by the way, you can come back as often as you want. Is there anything else that you're going to be trying to do to reach out to people that they can look for, a website or something else?
Through Empowered Canadians, I will be watching to see what happens on that webpage. Right now, I think because I'm still trying to heal, I can't take on too much at once. So I think I'll just stick to TikTok and Facebook, and I'm learning Instagram.
Well, we'll be happy to help you with reaching other platforms. We can put your TikTok on the show and we can talk about you. So we can keep in contact on that as well. Eva, is there anything else we can do to help? You want to call out to organizations to maybe intervene? Are there any particular organizations that you think can assist with this matter, in addition to the ones you're working with?
We'd be, I'm sure, happy to have assistance and help in any way. I hope that, again, if we get support from Canadians, organizations, that's going to help get the message across and going to help inform politicians and help inform the court that this is not a matter that should be disregarded. This needs to be listened to, and we need to know who's responsible.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to put out there to make sure people understand and know at this stage?
No, I think today was a big day and that we made this big announcement. And I think it would be great if we could maybe touch base once in a while so that we keep in people's ears and eyes, because this is just a start of what we expect to be a long battle.
Well, I can tell you already, some of my lawyer friends said they want to help. They want to come on and talk about it. So we'll be getting that going together. Lion Advocate, so that's Viva Fry's brother, Daniel. He's already aware of this. I have given him a copy. We'll be talking. Keith Wilson, of course. And there's a few others that have already passed this too. So hopefully we can get some people to come talk about it and bring some attention to this. I think that would be a good idea. And I'd love to have you back weekly or more if you want to make that happen.
Okay, well, and I'm happy to. I know it gets a bit hard on Carrie to be doing this. I just wanted her to have an opportunity to get her message out too, but I'm happy to do it and as much as needed.
Thank you very much for including me on that. And Carrie, thank you so much for doing the fight and making sure you stand up for this. This is a tough step for you. I appreciate that. I've spoken to many vaccine injured people, and yes, the brain is being affected. It's being attacked here. So I really appreciate you taking the time with us tonight to do this with us. And thank you for your bravery on this one. And God bless you.
Thank you for giving us this platform.
It's my pleasure. It's what it's here for. And the same thing to you, Eva. Anything you need, I'm a paralegal from Ontario, so you want somebody to just proofread and make sure the spelling's good, like even at that level, happy to take a look.
Oh, that always helps. So I will take you up on it.
Please do. I would be more than happy to contribute on this one.
Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna let you both go. It was a big day for both of you. Get some rest, and we will definitely be in contact.
Thanks so much, Jason.
You take care, both of you. Have a good night, and God bless both of you. Well, folks, they're changing the world, aren't they? Did you hear that? She's injured. She's hurt. The doctor said so right away. She's gone to the vaccine injury program. They paid her out. They're trying to get her to be quiet about that. It's not enough. They've hurt her. They hurt her bad. So please stay tuned. As you heard, Eva and Carrie are going to be coming back. We're going to be doing this weekly, couple times a week. We'll bring in some lawyer friends. Daniel, if you're listening, I know you went out and you had a good time tonight. You're hanging out with the family. That's wonderful. But let's circle back and let's get your input on this. Let's have you look at this, and let's get some of our friends looking at this as well. This is in addition to Coots, folks. So Alberta's got a couple big problems here that we're going to keep on top of. CBC's a defendant. They're not going to touch this. And I doubt the other guys are going to get themselves involved because they were spreading that information too. So I don't expect Global or anybody else to assist at all with this one. I think we're going to be on our own, folks. And I'm fine with that. This is our 4th show today. So look, we're going to do what it takes to get this message out and keep it going. So thank you all very much. Share, share, share. This is a big story. It's all over Twitter now. You can hit my Twitter feed. Daniel Best or Donald Best put out a tweet as well. This is a big, big story. This means something, because they're going to have to prove that she was injured by the vaccine. And they're also going to have to prove that the government was neglectful. And they're going to have to prove that CBC was providing misinformation. Those are all good things that if we can settle that and get that out in the open, those would be all good things. And I believe that they're taking the right approach. Making this a class action would be complicated. Going after Pfizer would be complicated. And going into the federal court doesn't sound fair. So I think they took the right approach on this one. I am definitely going to be rooting for this. I'll put in some hours. If you're a lawyer, a paralegal, an assistant, if you're a doctor or nurse and you can help, reach out. My DMs are open, and we'll make sure we can put you in contact with the right people and get some help to Carrie. My goodness, this is an amazing young woman. And I'm so sad that she has to go through this. But the silver lining here is she can maybe save a whole bunch of other people and get them the services that they're going to need for their injury. My goodness, what have we done to our people here? I am mad. So thank you all very much for being here. I'm going to be on top of this. I'll keep bringing it to you. Subscribe, do that part. Don't even bother with the like stuff. Subscribe and share. The more important thing here is to get this message out to as many people as possible. Do we have some quick comments there, Paula? Because then I'll wrap this up. I will leave that as a no. And then Peter understands who Daniel is. Yeah, he is quite amazing. We've been back and forth. He's going to be a guest on this show the July 31st. We've already scheduled that interview, Peter, but he's going to likely be on the show a lot sooner than that to address this. Hey, Clay, buddy. Yeah, God bless Carrie for sure, for sure. And then Azario saying, John, that's bananas. But I get the original reason of why it would make them available for timely decisions. Obviously, that would disconnect them, but this is where we're at. Prairie is sending a bunch of prayers. Love you, Prairie. And then Ashley is saying Carrie with a bunch of hearts. And the statement of claim is quite the read. Yes. So I posted the entire thing, including the press release. It's on my Twitter. So if you go check that out, as soon as Eva sent it to me, I said, can I post this? She said, it's public, post away. And it's there. So the entire claim is here. You can go read it. You can put your comments. You can share it. And then at the very end of the claim, which is 28 pages, you will find the press release. And the press release is just heartbreaking. And it includes a picture. Here's the press release. And it includes a picture of Carrie as she's going through this. This is devastating, folks. But I am very impressed and proud that they're going to go ahead with this. They're taking the hard road, but they're doing it for everybody. We need to make sure that Carrie can stay comfortable and enjoy the rest of her life. So I support this 100%. And Ashley says, I agree, Jason. I'm livid. It's a travesty what's become of our country. Oh, Ashley, like as I'm spending time meeting people, talking to people, even today with Tracy Wilson from the Canadian Coalition of Firearm Rights, it's frustrating what this Liberal government has been doing to people on many different fronts. So check out some of those old videos, and do check out Dr. Makis, because we talked a lot about vaccine detox, and this is a thing now. There's a lot of people working on it. And we have Dr. McCullough coming on July 28th, Friday, July 28th. I'm definitely going to be bringing this up with him. We probably will bring Carrie in to talk to Dr. McCullough as well, because he's coming on to talk about vaccine detox, because it's a thing. So things are kind of lining up here. I think we'll be able to help Carrie, put her in contact with a couple amazing doctors, Makis and McCullough, and we'll be able to assist on the legal front. I'll dot I's, dot T's. I'll assist in any way I can to help these brave women move this thing forward. And if you want to get involved, DM me. I'll help you as well. Yes, you'll have to find the Dr. Makis interview on Rumble. It's not YouTube safe. It's on Rumble. All my videos are on Rumble. YouTube has most, but not all. So thank you all very much for coming at this last minute. I thought it was very important to get them on as quick as possible. And that's the end of the show for me. That's 4 shows. I got to get back to the family. I got to get rest tomorrow, because we're just going to do it all over again. We're going to do Coots in the morning for another hour. We have a gun specialist coming in to talk about the guns and the evidence that was presented in the Coots matter. And then we have an incredible story tomorrow afternoon with our guest. His name is Daniel from Venezuela, who watched the entire economy, the entire country collapse. He left to come to escape that. He came to Canada, and now he's watching the same thing again. It's going to be another deep episode. So check us out tomorrow for that. Well, thank you all very much for being here, and spread this word. We got to let people know Carrie's been hurt, and we're going to get her help. Thank you all very much. I love you all, and God bless.